So what's good, TMG fam? It's your boy L, and I'm back with another reaction. How y'all feel? Welcome back to the channel. Salute. Now, these theories will make you question everything. So remember, this is for entertainment purposes only. Let's check them out.
It's been almost a decade of despair for these families. But tonight, loved ones of the 239 people who perished on MH370 have fresh hope. A new report led by British academics suggesting the doomed flight went down off WA's coast.
I think the report will give families a great deal of comfort. It's a very comprehensive report, 232 pages of mathematics and science.
It uses a groundbreaking method studying disturbances in recorded radio waves. After analysis, the airliner was pinged 125 times travelling south into the Indian Ocean on March 8, 2014. Based off the last signal, the 777's final resting place could be just 1,500 kilometres northwest of Perth.
It was always thought that the search area needed to be widened, and now this gives us conclusive proof.
Initially, rescuers scoured the South China Sea, where air traffic control lost contact. Months later, a multinational mission was launched scouring the Indian Ocean. By 2017, it was called off, having become the most expensive aviation search in history. 12 months later, a British company tried again from Perth, to no avail.
Since the last searches, the technology has really moved on.
Grieving relatives have handed the report to the Malaysian government in person today, hoping it will fund a new search to finally find the missing airliner. Jack Hahn, 9 News.
See, listen, man, this thing only makes me not want to get on a plane and travel, especially over the ocean, over somewhere else, like maybe Italy or somewhere, like anywhere over there, you know what I mean, coming from the US. Like, and then at the same time, are we giving these families comfort, or are we giving them some sense of just something to allow them to start the grieving process so they can end it, or giving them false hope or something like that? Because we haven't found anything still at this point. So how can we say anything's conclusive? That was my thing.
It's been almost 9 years now since Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 vanished with 239 people on board. The search for the plane was the most expansive search in aviation history, but the plane was never found. And just last year, the former head of the MH370 search said the search should have continued.
The last search was called off about 4 years ago. You believe it should never have been called off?
Exactly.
No, I don't. I think we should have continued, and I've been on record for some time that we had prospective places to look when the search was ended, and we had outstanding analysis. So we had analysis that was indicating some areas were far more prospective, and so yes, I believe we should have continued at that point, and had we done so, I think we would have been successful.
It's been almost...
See, that's my thing there. Even in the other video, they was like, this is one of the most expensive searches ever. So somebody was feeling the pressure from the higher ups of how much this was costing, and they called it off. And this guy's telling me, we should have never called this off. We should have continued this search.
Part 4, so this is where the theory gets crazy. So if you didn't think it was crazy enough, the Sahari had practiced a flight very similar to Flight 370 1 month before it went missing. This is starting to sound more like he planned it, and that they may know a lot more than what they're trying to tell us. Because even the lead reporter on this case went missing in 2020.
And in a sad postscript to the MH370 mystery, in 2020, Ian Higgins also went missing.
I mean, could it be a coincidence? Maybe. But a lead senior reporter doesn't just vanish like that. Okay, so y'all remember how I told you this was the moment when it disappeared off of all the civilian radars? Well, apparently the Malaysian military was still able to see the airplane for almost an hour. And like they saw this plane going in circles for 20 minutes.
It was even seen on military radar, but no one acted.
Part 4, so this is where the theory gets...
See, my theories still have me pointing to that pilot. Remember, even what she said, plus the things that they found on his computer, his search history, to me pointed to him. What he did, that, but me personally, I think all eyes go to him. Could he have taken it down? Absolutely. Absolutely. We just got to find it.
I believe Maui is turning into flight MH370, where things happen that you just have questions to. You have stories that is like this, stories like this, and stories about the roads being blocked like that, and like this. And these were the only roads to get out of there. Just like the people of Malaysia who questioned what happened here. Do y'all know the story? Do you know how there were still phone calls being made after the flight went down days later? What about the pilot having a simulation that the path ended up taking wrongfully? How about his wife, the very next morning, moved away from a gated community to go somewhere else before all the heat started? What about how the flight ended up going up to 45,000 feet? That's something to where everybody in the cabin would have ended up passing out. What about the bombshell that France dropped, suggesting cover-ups? Maybe it was hijacked. Maybe it was intercepted by 2 American sentries. What about how the government ended up throwing all the family into a hotel and didn't answer anything, didn't really investigate anything? What about the several months and several years of all the investigation that Malaysia went through? But now let's come back to Maui. Why is the media feeling the need to make stories like this? Because, however you feel about that story and how it happened, this is something to pay attention to. There's still 850 people that are missing, and FEMA is shutting down and leaving. Or maybe the FBI will actually release the names of the 1,110 people that are missing. In conclusion, I sadly feel that this is nothing more than what happened to flight MH370, to where there is unanswered questions, and sadly, all these people that perished, justice won't be served for them. I will be going live to talk about flight MH370. If you want to know more on that, please just say so below, and I'll start covering that story again. Take care. God bless. I believe Maui is turning into flight MH370, where things happen.
So how was that story suppressed? Or was it suppressed and I just looked over it and missed it? Because I've done multiple videos and I can't for the life of me pull out of my brain the information about the wife. That is beyond strange, odd, and mysterious. You just up and leave, move, relocate. Just saying, not accusing, just saying that looks rather odd.
Do y'all remember the story about Malaysian Airlines MH370 going missing? Well, if not, then I got a treat for y'all. Let's get it. On March 8th of 2014, the Malaysian Airlines plane MH370 was heading from Kuala Lumpur International Airport to its planned destination of Beijing Capital International Airport. Between the departure between Kuala Lumpur Airport and the Beijing Capital International Airport, what could have happened? There's always been a few theories circling this, and I got 2 of them. It all literally could have just been a freak accident. Got lost on the way, bad weather, errors within the plane, anything. But there is evidence and speculation that something else could have happened. If you're traveling across the Indian Ocean, you'll come across an island, a military island, by the name of Diego Garcia, at the size of just 14 kilometers. Well, what does that have to do with the MH370? Alright, let me tell y'all. Just 10 days later, after the Malaysian Airlines and MH370 were finally pronounced missing, a photo and an anonymous email spawns out of nowhere. from someone that works at IBM named Philip Wood. And this email alone sent the whole internet into a frenzy. It took no time for the people to go to work. Once the image was discovered, it was pinpointed that the location that the image was captured at was Diego Garcia Island. Some people believe, like similar islands that we've seen before, the same thing could have happened with Diego Garcia Island. And also that it could be a lot more underneath the scene and the surface than what appears to the eye. A lot of people believe that the MH370 was hijacked by military personnel and then taken to the base of Diego Garcia, in which all the passengers on board were taken underground and then tortured. These are the other conspiracies surrounding the MH370 and the Malaysian Airlines flight that went missing.
I want to read them. It was shot down during the joint military exercise between the U.S. and Thailand and South. There's play buttons in the way. Was hijacked by terrorists, was forced to land at Diego Garcia, the British-owned island in the Indian Ocean, home to major U.S. military base. An unknown weapon plucked aircraft out of the sky without leaving a shred of evidence. That's interesting. It says the rogue pilot, which believes the plane's captain made a deliberate descent into the Indian Ocean. I think a lot of things is interesting. Let me see how much of this video was left. Oh, it was on. Oh, it was a good bit. Hold on. Let him keep going.
And while none of us truly ever know the truth, all we can do is assume, but just know nothing is what it seems like. And whatever they saying the truth is, that damn sure ain't the truth. Because we never get the truth. But y'all go ahead and let me know what y'all think in the comments about.
Okay. Now, this Philip Wood email. It seems like the more we dig into the information, the more things we hear, the more is revealed to us. Philip Wood email. I don't know, man. One thing I do know, though, and that I would like to hear from is more pilots, right? And I'm going to go watch the Netflix documentary with the family. Because I want to sit down and go through that and sift through it and see if they interview pilots. Because I want to know. I want to hear it from a pilot's mouth that's odd for him to have a simulation in his home. That's not normal. It's odd to do the things that was done in the flight path. It's odd to do. I want to hear from pilots, man. I want to hear from pilots.
Don't waste your time watching the MH370 Malaysia Airlines documentary and just read the Atlantic article about it that came out in 2019. You can cut through the conspiracy theory and read the evidence and the leading theory. It's not the proven fact, but most aviators and intelligence community members agree that the Atlantic article gets it mostly right. Don't waste your time watching the...
I think that's interesting. Right after I said I wanted to go watch it, she turns around and says, no, don't waste your time. It's horrible. Don't waste your time. They saying the article was better. Wow. That just took all the air, deflated all the air out of my balloon.
No way. Oh my God. Y'all remember that flight that went missing? Malaysia Airlines Flight 370. On March the 8th, 2014, Malaysia Airlines went missing flying with over 227 people. Now all of a sudden there's footage that shows an American US satellite seeing what happened to the plane before it just poofed, vanished. And guys, it's a bit creepy and a lot of people have been looking for somebody to debunk it, but nobody has debunked this as yet. Watch. Okay, so here's the plane, guys. This is supposed to be the plane. And you see that little thing? That's like a spaceship. Look. Wait. Now there's 2 of them. Oh, look. Now there's 3 of them. And it's just going. It's going. They're just circling the plane. But what I don't understand is why is this footage just coming out?
That's my thing.
I was wondering if it didn't get missing in the night, but they say that this is like night vision on the satellite. Wait, it's still going, it's still going. They're still circling the plane. Can you imagine how the passengers felt so frightened? Look at that. And then, like I said, guys, I'm not buying into it, but what are the possibilities like aliens are real now and then we see this footage come out? But why didn't this footage come out I don't know. I've been looking for somebody to debunk this, and I'm just like, no website. Everybody's reposting it, everybody's talking about it, and nobody has debunked it as yet. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. No.
Yeah, I always question. This video is definitely one that makes you go, what? Huh? No way. Really? You go through a range of emotions, but I continue to question the timing of this video being released to us. The timing. And why would they do that? Trying to throw our scent off the trail. Like, I don't know. Like, my mind is all over the place when it comes to this flight, man.
Missing flight MH370 is supposedly this flight. And this is satellite video footage. Now, this has not been doctored from what I've heard. Now, you see there's orbs that start to surround this plane. Now, this plane went missing, I think 5-6 years ago now, and was never found. Now, this video has now surfaced online, and look at that. It's 3 orbs that are surrounding the plane. Now, this UFO, UAP stuff, this is getting out of hand. Now, if this is real, this is some manifest destiny type of stuff. Because just wait is what's about to happen. It's like, yeah, you just saw that. Now, was it time hop, time loop? Did it get sucked into another universe? I have no idea, but no, that just happened. You saw that. Put the thermal right next to it. Okay, so that's real. This is thermal video. This is thermal evidence right here that planes are disappearing. MH370, that's why it was never found, because who knows where it's at still. Missing flight MH370 is supposedly this flight.
See, this is the type of footage that when it comes out, you're hoping and you're praying that this isn't real. You know what I mean? Because everything after that, or what it's going to present, is just going to be, it's going to change us. It's going to change us. So when you see this type of stuff, you're just like, man, I hope this isn't the case. I hope this isn't real. Man, don't be real, because if this is real, we have a huge problem on our hands, bigger than what we can ever imagine.
Nearly 10 years since it vanished, there is renewed interest in Malaysia Airlines Flight 370, with researchers now eyeing a specific sea creature that could be key in finding it. This case has gone cold since 2017. That's when search efforts were just called off over the Indian Ocean. MH370 vanished in March 2014 with 239 passengers and crew on board, flying from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing. Air traffic control had its last communication with the plane 38 minutes after takeoff, before everything went silent. The Malaysian government has since said it will not restart the search efforts without new evidence that is both, quote, new and credible. Well, now researchers are starting to look at barnacles, which are growing on some parts of the airplane wreckage that was recovered, giving scientists promising evidence in reconstructing drift paths of ocean debris. So journalist and author of The Taking of MH370, Jeff Wise, joins us now to talk more about this potential new crack in the case. Jeff, thank you so much for your time. First of all, do you think this new potential clue, will reinvigorate interest in the story? Do you think we'll see search teams start looking again?
It's certainly possible. I mean, this is another twist in what has been a saga with lots of twists.
And they say possible, y'all know why, right? The money. They got to get funded.
And turns. These interesting creatures, they're called Lepus anatifera, or goose barnacles, because they have necks that kind of look like geese necks. They grow on anything that floats across the ocean, and they especially thrive in the open ocean. And several pieces of debris, including the first and most famous one that turned up on the La Reunion in 2015, are covered in these barnacles. And it's kind of exciting for scientists and for investigators looking at this crash, because these barnacles are actually like sort of nature's own flight data recorders, in the sense that they record aspects of the environment that they float through. And so, for instance, scientists can use them by measuring the chemical composition of their shells to figure out what the temperature of the water that they floated through. And they can sort of look at, for instance, sea turtles that might have these things growing on their back and say, okay, where did this sea turtle migrate from and where it was going to? So when they found these pieces of debris and they had some of these Lepus barnacles on them, they got very excited right away and said, okay, this can tell us where the plane went down, because, you know, famously, I'm sure everyone knows, but the plane disappeared from radar back in March of 2014, and the electronic signals it sent indicated that it went into the southern Indian Ocean. But after years and years and hundreds of millions of dollars of looking, investigators were unable to find the wreckage. So where is it? Where did the plane go? These barnacles could provide a clue.
And the ocean is so vast, we know that that's why the search ultimately was called off. But Jeff, what is it about this plane that interests people so much? Is it just the fact that it seems to have disappeared?
Well, I like to say that the closer you look at this mystery, the weirder it gets. And you mentioned earlier that the reason that they called out the search was just because the ocean is so big. That's actually not right. The ocean is big, true, but the signals that were collected have a precision to them, so that they tell the investigators how big an area they need to look in. That area was searched, and far beyond that area was searched, the plane wasn't there. So there's a central conundrum to the mystery of MH370, which is these signals say that the plane went to this particular part of the ocean, and yet it's not there. How do we explain that contradiction?
Right, and it is so difficult. I started to watch one of the documentaries on this. I know that there's been so much coverage on this, and it is really fascinating, because you said there's so many mysteries, or what seems to be mysteries in connection to this. Jeff, obviously, as you know, there are so many theories about what could have happened to this plane. You know, nobody really obviously knows. What is your best guess?
Well, there's really two things that could have happened to it. There's lots of theories that people throw out there, but those are really kind of uninformed speculation, I would say. If you look at the hard data, and this is really a technical mystery at heart, it involves the mathematical analysis of these signals sent by the plane. There's really only two possibilities. Either the plane went south into the southern Indian Ocean, although that raises questions of why it hasn't been found, or the alternative possibility is that it was hijacked and went north into Kazakhstan. So it's one of those two things. Both of them are weird. Both of them involve very different kind of mechanisms for how these signals were generated. I talk about it in the Netflix documentary that came out in March, MH370, the plane that disappeared. It's really a deep, deep subject, and there's a lot of technical aspects to it, but it is fascinating and I think very important.
And just really quickly, do you think we will ever know the answer?
Yes, I think we will.
All right. Well, there you go. All right, Jeff Wise, thank you so much for your time. Thank you.
We got to continue to keep the story going. We got to continue to keep it up, man. Because if we don't, then it'll start to die down, and then they won't provide funding for them to continue on the search and the investigation, man. And we owe it to those families, man. Prayers, still sending prayers to those families who don't yet have any type of closure. And not the fake closure that I feel like people are just trying to give to them so they could just go away. No, they need real closure of what happened to their family. You would want the same if it was your family. That's all I'm saying. So listen, man, y'all get at me in the comment section and let me know what you thought of this video. I'm going to do my part ever so often and try to dive back into it and see if we can find some new information, or they've gotten some new information on it. All right, it's your boy L. Stick around and stay tuned till next one I'm gone.